That's what makes this show so valuable.
Yeah, we're not just spewing stuff that we off the top of our head. We're bringing guys in that are smarter than us.
Consider us as your real estate concierge.
Call me all things real estate, credit, refinancing, buying a house.
And now, the show that gives you the latest and most relevant housing market news. Real Estate Radio Boston with financial expert Rick Shearer and legal professional Ali Alavi.
Now it's time for Erica Wallace from Wallace Consulting Group, Tech Talk.
Today's app is Card Munch, and it's an app that connects with LinkedIn profiles, but it actually will convert your paper business cards into contact information directly into your phone.
Okay.
So you just take a picture of a business card, and it puts all of the information into your contacts.
So I'm at a business meeting. Somebody gives me the business card. I take a picture of the business card, and it just automatically propagates?
It does. And what's different, there's two things. One, it'll also connect to your LinkedIn profile. So if you have connections in common, it'll show you that. The transcribing is done by real people. So it has a much higher accuracy than the other apps that do the same thing.
Yeah, so I use this, Eric, and so what Ali and I just went out to California, and I walked back with, probably about 15 to 20 business cards. And what I did was I just sat down and I took a picture of every single one of them, hit upload, and what it does, it goes into a pending status, and then typically within a day, all the information is now in Card Munch, and I can do a few things. I can link with them on LinkedIn. I can go over and save it in my contacts on my into my iPhone. It's all about follow-up, I think, when you're in these networking things, and it allows you to do it really quickly.
Erica, how do they get the app?
If they go to cardmunch.com or search in iTunes for Card Munch.
I basically got into real estate by watching other people make a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a couple of immigrants, really. We live in the American dream. He came over from Australia.
I actually was born
in Australia.
I
was born in London. I emigrated back in '86. But I tried the conventional route: work hard, work hard, work hard, work hard, buy a house, refi, right? The Middle America mouse wheel. I actually heard a commercial, and this is a God's honest truth commercial on the radio. Teach me foreclosure, and it was for a seminar. One of those late night TV guys. Who we are today. Go figure, right? Yeah. But I went to a seminar, and I took it. I took it 100%. If you watch the show Flipping Boston on A&E, I mean, I'm all guns blazing. I'm all in. I don't mess around the edges.
We love it.
Forget the details. We'll worry about those later.
What do you get him for?
Pete will pick up the pieces
I'll
for
take
me.
care of that.
Yeah, you'll take care of that. But I came out of a seminar, and they said, go on Craigslist and meet other like-minded individuals.
I put an ad out there looking for investors. And Dave, I remember this. The phone rings. And I'm finding out that he really didn't have much experience. I was like, well, how much money do you have to invest? How much? He's like, not much. I don't have this. But I liked him. You know what I mean? Like there was something there. There was
the energy,
my
the chemistry.
gut was telling me there's some energy with this guy. I click with that guy.
You're going to make me cry.
Our relationship was, can you bring value to the table? If I have value, you have value. That's what really forms a partnership.
And this is important to learn because I came to this party with $70,000 in credit card debt, losing my own primary residence. Yet I'm an entrepreneurial real estate investor of the nth degree. Yeah. So the truth.
We went to a seminar.
Seriously though, here's the point of this: is the fact that I was loaded with information and passion.
Exactly.
And you put those two together, finances will follow.
Unstoppable, I think. That's a great comment.
It really is. I was very fortunate. I did exceptionally well in real estate in a short period of time. Somebody sent me a link to A&E. Flip This House was no longer current. It had ceased to be. It was a dead parrot for those Monty Python fans. And they were bringing back the genre, and I downloaded a vanilla application online, and I sent it in loaded with profanity.
Yes.
All of the worst words that you could ever think of. I put them in an application, and it made the phone ring from New York.
And he didn't tell me, by the way, full disclosure, didn't tell me, forges my name, takes my picture from Facebook, downloads it, sends it Pete the Greek and Dave the firefighter.
And the phone rang, and the rest is history.
What?
A lot of folks see a TV show like Flipping Boston, and they go, how do I do that?
Yeah.
Like you guys asked, how do you get a TV show? Well, Middle America thinks that same thing too. And the cool part of it is that the book and the DVD series that we have there allows them to just get a little bit of an insight to say, hey, maybe I could try that too.
The number one thing I always tell someone that's looking to get into this field, it's all about knowing your market. Period. The first thing you have to do if you want to even consider something is know that market inside out, breathe eat, sleep it. You don't have to spend any money to know your market.
Sure.
Just know your market. Now, if I said to you, okay, in Linfield or in Rosendale or in Winchester or whatever, right? And I said, hey, there's a house, 3-bed, 2-bath, 123 Main Street, $722,000. You'd say, I have no idea. But if you know the market is 1.7, you're all over that thing. If you don't want to become a nuisance to anyone, man, open houses are phenomenal just in themselves.
Open houses and the power of the internet is there. We can do basic valuations. What they need to do is find out what that medium price range is that's selling as quickly as possible in the marketplace.
You have to have an exit strategy. So you just can't go in. So what you have to be focused in what you're doing. Are you looking to buy and flip? Are you looking to buy and hold? What is your exit strategy? I always reverse engineer everything I do. So I look at the end and then I go backwards. And then I say, okay, I'm pulling the trigger or not.
There's the power of wholesaling, the ability to control a piece of real estate with a contract and never even own it and make money on it.
Right.
So there's levels of exit strategies in any real estate deal that we do. So they got to know the marketplace. If they don't know the marketplace, they can't get into an exit strategy in the first place. We have this discussion at least 3 times a day. We buy real estate based on numbers and numbers only.
Yeah, not emotion.
And then we sell them on emotion, right? And that's really the key to this thing.
I like that.
It's the truth. It's the reality of it, because so many people spent that time speculating 2006, 7, 8, right? You could buy it on Friday. It was worth more on Monday, for heaven's sake. What's interesting about our marketplace right now is all of those bank-owned deals, those REO deals, those short sale deals are drying up a little. And what's happened is I'm not looking, and we're not looking so much for deals now in the MLS space.
It's got to be off market.
It's off market. It's the hidden market.
Miriam, you have some experience turning around these properties. He talked about knowing your market, and I mentioned real estate agent. What do you guys do for people that are looking to kind of get into that field?
It's a scary field. They go out there and they kind of don't want to take the next step, not knowing what they can sell this property for. So the first step is to actually get out there and look at the properties. Sometimes they're shocked to what they see. It needs more work than what they anticipated. The ceiling is falling down. Is it worth me going after this property? And it really depends on your location. That's the first thing we look at. We'll put together an after repair value analysis for them for every single property. It takes time for us to do it. We don't mind. We enjoy doing them, and we've had experience with investors and with ourselves doing it.
And you have to set expectations too, especially if you're just getting into this type of work or this type of business, this field. You're going to see some things that frighten you a little bit. Some houses that they're supposed to be ugly, they're supposed to be in rough shape.
You get the better deals on those houses.
Exactly.
The worse they smell, the better your deal. Honestly.
What advice do you have for sellers out there that want to sort of prepare their homes for winter?
We feel that even though spring market, a lot of people consider to be the top market of the year, we're not afraid of winter listings. We think they're a great thing. Again, like Rick said, there's fewer properties on the market to compete with yours, and so that's a great thing. But we know that there are buyers out there year-round.
The longer your house sits there, the less attractive it is to a buyer.
Your first 2 weeks are the ultimate time on the market. If you do not see big interest, an offer, or talk of an offer within the first 2 weeks, you're priced incorrectly. Take immediate action. Don't wait 30 days, 60 days, 90 days.